All right, what's good, family? We're back with the emphatic truth. Got a special guest in the building, longtime friend, alpha brother, Abdul Muhammed in the building. What's going on, Abdul? How you feeling?
Thank you, brother, for having me on the Emphatic Truth. Once again, I would like to say thank you for all your service and the value that you're adding to the community. Thank you for your hard work and your diligence and your consistency on this platform. I forever thank you, and I'm grateful for for being a guest on this great podcast. So thank you so much, Tavon. I'm doing wonderful, keeping our heads up, and just trying to stay.
Mhm.
So thank you once again, and
Yes,
welcome.
sir. Yes, sir. And this is really the second part of our Tools of Liberation or Truth Talk podcast, where we're engaging with more so our black men. We're going to have some black women, our sisters on as well, but we really wanted to focus on, some aspects and some tools and keys we can give to our black men, some young brothers. And Abdul, which we'll get into a little bit later, is a very successful young brother out of Morgan State University. Recently, wrote a book, Profit for Profit, and just understanding what his whole mission is and how um, this new article that we'll get into here in a minute, really ties into his whole mission and what advice, what tools, what tips he can give to our young brothers, sisters, college students, and really anyone in between. Um, the good insight that they're going to need to make it as we go into 2021. So just real quick, give us a rundown. As you all know, if you tune into the last tools, tools of liberation, truth talks, we hold a discussion. We have some questions lined up. This topic is around growth and separation. So this is tied into our latest blog article, Growth and Separation, how to tackle your next level, how to evolve past the level that you currently are at, and get into the next realm as we go into 2021. That blog can be found at theemphatictruth.com. And real quick, we'll just go into just some highlights, just an overview of that blog, and get Abdul's opinion and insight as we, begin today's discussion. So real quick, I'll share my screen. It looks like you gotta enable me to share my screen, Abdul, as the host. And then once I share my screen, we can.
Should be good now.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So again, this topic, this week's topic, uh, tools of liberation, tell your truth podcast is really tied into growth and separation and how to take control of your evolution. And if you read this week's latest blog article, we're going into just that battle, that internal battle that you deal with as you sort of gain new levels, as you gain new levels in your job, gain new level in your relationship. Maybe you're getting married, or maybe you're just having a baby, you're building a family. But this is how sort of I saw myself at one point in time, and even in times of of growth now, that I find myself either growing in other areas that causes me to separate, and then also how I can sort of maneuver through these areas without losing a sense of self. So hope you all, definitely check it out at theemphatictruth.com. A really quick 3-minute read. for you to really tie into, give you some good tools, give you some good insight to move you forward in your journey. So let's get into it, Abdul. So you had a chance to read the article, had a chance to sort of understand what the whole mission of the Emphatic Truth is. And if you guys aren't aware, Abdul was one of the first people on the Emphatic Truth back in, what was that, 2016, I think it was, Abdul, when he was making videos down at UMD.
Yeah, I remember. Those are great days, the innovative days. Yep.
Yep.
We're up in the lab. Yep.
Oh yeah, so I still have a few of those videos up on the Emphatic Truth TV on YouTube. So definitely check them out. But we were involved in the discussion and the higher thinking and the consciousness and just trying to be better men, right, for ourselves, for our family, for our relationships and everything in between. But we was doing it at an unpopular time, right? This is when I think like Obama was president. Not too many people knew what a podcast was. We didn't really have much fanfare in terms of the things that we were talking about because it was like a relaxing moment for us in America. And then you had, Mike Brown, and then you had Trayvon Martin, and then you had, Freddie Gray. And then, these emotions start to build up and all over again. So it was really cool to bring Abdul back. And I'm very appreciative of his willingness to always be ready, to jump in to add value to this business and brand. So I appreciate you, brother. First question, getting into the article. So after reading through the blog and understanding the times that we are currently in, what is your immediate takeaways of growth and separation, the article? What is your immediate takeaways from that article?
First of all, thank you for writing that piece of literature, because while reading it, I understood the message that you were trying to convey. And a part of life, we're going to have to grow. And like you said, with growing requires separation, and you evolve by yourself. So in the last portion of the article, you mentioned that when you're going through different endeavors in life, through jobs, relationships, and just different tasks in life, sometimes you're going to have to let it go. And the whole basis was relating it back to now and the unprecedented time that we've seen, and a lot of change happened occurred since the beginning of this year. So a lot of people have changes. A lot of people had to grow faster because of been put in circumstances that makes you to adapt. So I would say that growth is inevitable and separation is inevitable. We are constantly growing, and my belief is as we grow, because this universe is it's a vibrational match, and everything that we manifest, we attract by our vibrations and feelings. So we're gonna constantly grow, but the people that need to be there and the people that are gonna be with you on the journey will be there, just like the opportunities.
Yeah.
I take a lot from that, because a lot of people need to hear that during this time. Some people are now realizing that maybe what I'm doing, I'm not enjoying it because I'm in a different scenario. Pandemic put me in. So a lot of things are coming up into the center now that be making people grow and letting
no longer able to hide away from that ignorance. Almost, it's like it's in your face.
That mask.
Yeah. And that's what I sort of understood when I was compelled to write it, because it's funny when you're writing blog articles, if you get the notion to write, it's like, you don't necessarily have a game plan for it. You just have a feeling, you have an emotion, you have an experience. And that leads me to oftentimes write and share that experience with other people. And I was going through a particular time where it was like, okay, I'm trying to build out this brand I've had for some years now and take it to the next level. And what does that next level look like? And who can I count on to help me get there? And in doing that, you have to realize that uh, it's going to involve some growth. It's going to involve some growing pains, but it's also going to involve, some separation within that journey. And whether it was me building a website or me just saying, hey, I want to start a brand in the business and, work my way up the entrepreneurship ladder and understand what it really is like to be an entrepreneur, you know, that was some growing pains within that. So I'm sure you have had some experiences in your life, but one in particular, if you don't mind sharing, do you have any experience that you can share about your growth that ultimately forced you to, maybe separate from uh, not necessarily friends and family, but things that were not helping you grow into what you wanted to be or where you wanted to be at currently in December 2021. I mean, excuse me, 2020.
I'll give you a good example. I went to WWDC conference back in 2017, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It was through Apple. Um, we won a hackathon recently in Thurgood Marshall College Fund, um, underground mainstream in this is where were we in? Wow, I have to remember. I just lost track of it. Traveling.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina.
Okay.
Okay, North Carolina. So we're there. Um, Amazing vibes. But one of the things I want to mention is that, like, once we won the hackathon, because we created an app that's called Stock It, and it's about like the stock market and investing.
Mm-hmm.
We went to that conference, and I learned something that really helped me grow. There was a 9-year-old coder, and there was a lady that was 70 that learned how to code. Right there, from learning that, like being exposed from that, because where I'm from, we're not really exposed from that. I'm one of the very few people around my community who get to experience that and go to college. So it really shows me your association and the people you're around really affect where you're going in life. Because
Mm-hmm.
that 9-year-old who was coding was around people who were into, profound things, were into the high level skills that's needed, coding. And as far as that 77-year-old, so it doesn't matter who you are in life, but if you are associating yourself with the right people in the endeavors you want to be with, you can achieve. And I just want to raise that point because
Mm-hmm.
there's numerous of things in my life that's been propelled me to grow, just like you have numerous of things. I believe you don't take losses, you take lessons. So anytime we've taken a lesson that helped us grow and propel, there's been numerous of times, but even through, people not believing you, people not supporting, but you got to keep on pushing through, because at the end of the day, that growth is about you becoming the best version of yourself and
Mm-hmm.
just achieving your goals and dreams, because then everything is possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where you hit it, hit the nail on the head with understanding the importance and what your personal why is, right? Understanding that growth, that manifestation is for you. It may be, you know, publicly criticized on social media or, amongst your friends, but it ultimately is for you. And understanding what that gift that you have as that person living out that dream, living out that reality, or trying to make it a reality, you have to have some tough skin. And oftentimes it's going to involve some separation. As you said, you don't oftentimes have the best experiences or the best environments to come from, especially, being from me being from Baltimore, you being from PG, or just the influence that we have around us as we grow up, just innate. We don't realize how that impact us later on in life. But what that looks like for a 9-year-old, right? Or what that looks like for a 77-year-old to really have that mindset wherever you are on the spectrum of life, I can still contribute or I can still grow. So that's that's an important point. And, to our young people that may be watching this, college students or people that are, high school students or just graduated college, we sort of set these expectations a lot of times where we went through the growth process. Like we went through the growth process in terms of, I raised my hand, I'm going to college, right? I'm going to this university. I'm going to take on the next level of my growth to seek out opportunities that maybe my parents or my grandparents couldn't never dream of, but that oftentimes come with the separation. And what you'll see, and I'm sure you've seen it in your experience in college, we get attached to some of those people that may be in that lifestyle that we needed to separate from if we needed to get to where we truly want to be, where we said we wanted to be, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. And it's that stronghold, I think, a lot of times that we get, latched onto, that we can't let it go. And then we wonder why, like, man, I can't grow. But we also didn't separate.
I'm also something, and I'm gonna be very transparent with you. This is actually a great time to bring it up. And you talk about another growth and separation moment. I remember back in college, I had a roommate at the time. He was younger than me, 2 grades younger than me, and he was new to the area.
Mm-hmm.
So I got him acquainted to the college and whatnot. One night, he asked me to go out and party with him, but my intuition had said to stay home and do my homework, study. But I went out and party anyways because he was begging me. He liked to party and go out. Went out, had a good time, but my car got towed. That was my telling me I didn't need to be there at that point in time, but I didn't listen. So too many times, my intuition is speaking to us, but we're not listening to it. So we end up making the wrong decision. So that happens, and you're a broke college student at the time. You don't have no bread.
You know how much that car mean to you.
Bread. You're gonna have to hit your parents up. Sorry.
Yep.
Right. So that happened. I realized, and this is not even the meat of the. Hold on one second.
Okay.
This is not even the meat of it. The roommate ends up getting in an SUV full of people. I think somebody had got it. Not full, it was like a couple people, Uber. And I asked to get in. I didn't have a ride. I could not get in the car. And my roommate was there, knew the people. So that showed me right there. Separation,
right.
Like I wasn't supposed to be out, and then the people I've came with, then didn't allow me to, enter a vehicle when my car got towed. So really show you who's down for you. So what did I have to do? I had to take a taxi. Didn't have no money. And I'm being very transparent. Not like I had money in my car to get out. And as soon as he knew it wasn't working, the taxi literally pulled off fast while I was getting out the car. And I damn near scraped my knee. But that's just to go to show you I wasn't supposed to be there, but I had to grow and learn through that situation, grow, separate from the roommate. And then after that, things started turning different because I started focusing on myself more. So that was, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a great experience, and that's a real, like you said, I appreciate you for being transparent and willingness to share, because I mean, man, there's some, that's a real experience, to say the least, and just to understand, who's really there for you in college is one thing, but when it's your roommate, it's more so like, I mean, it's like, I'm not going to compare it to something like jail, but it's something like where you build that relationship, right? That's somebody that you really expect to be there for you when no one else is. It's the same thing with like my roommate. My roommate from freshman year ended up being also my line brother junior year when we pledged. But to have the flip side of that, where you have those roommates that may not have your best interest in mind. They just may have that self-centered interest in mind, meaning I'm going out here for self, and I have ulterior motive to get out here to meet up with, this girl or this guy or whatever the case may be, and you're there left holding the bag at the end of the day because it wasn't about you guys going out to be, truly about the fellowship or the relationship. It was about them in their own best interest, and that's sort of what we have to think about in our own in our own lives, right? When we're thinking about growth and separation, if we cannot, because the beginning of this, the beginning of the video, the article had stated in the, I just pulled it back up here. It says you have to know the difference between real friends, street friends, and entertainment friends. So you have to know the difference between, your real friends, your street friends, and your entertainment friends. And as you mentioned, that roommate was more so that entertainment friend, right? That person that you can go party with, right? And that person you can go, party with, go out there and, drink and, just have a good time. But when everything comes together and you're left holding the bag or looking for money, to tow your car or get your car out of the tow shop or buy a taxi, it's like, man, you weren't that friend that I really thought I had. And when we look for that in people instead of ourselves, we oftentimes come up short. Abdul, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah. So it's just one of those things where it's like, I know many of people can relate to that, especially our college students. Like I said, this is really geared towards our young people, our college students, our people that just graduated, but people that's just going through, 2020 and as a whole, right? It's been a trying time, and growth and separation is going to have to be inevitable if we're going to get to the next level in 2021. So that's a great example, Abdul. Now, as we talk about 2021, what is your growth strategy, right? If you said that your environment can sometimes impact your evaluation of yourself and what you can do in your life, and you have to be intentional about how you plan. How are you being intentional about this plan for 2021? What is your strategy for growth in 2021? And what new projects are you working on?
Thank you. That's a great question. For me, for 2021, I'm gonna say this one Elon Musk quote, and I hope you guys can resonate with the spirit that I'm rolling with. I'm not gonna phrase it word by word, but you're gonna get the gist of the quote. You can either do something in 30 days, or you can complete something in 3 hours. It all depends on your goals, dream, ambitions, persevering, and passion. So that just goes to show me, like you said, that word intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Going by fast, and it's really showing you that time is of the essence.
Oh yeah,
it's in December.
Not waiting.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it now as, and Jim Rohn says this: before you go to sleep at night, you should have your day ahead planned.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I'm definitely going to implement. Already agenda book. I was an avid, so I'm always have to get a new agenda book. So I'm gonna keep that on my list. Get a new agenda book for 2021, and just be organized. And I love to work out. So keep a clean mind, healthy body, and just take it one day at a time, because you gotta adapt. Like, there's things gonna be going on in the world right now that we can't control. But if we can one thing, It's our mind, how we feel, and the information we consume. And I'll definitely say, like you already know, 2021, we gotta delve into new information that's gonna evolve us, tap into what's going on right now. Stocks that are big right now, renewable energy, electric car, artificial intelligence. We gotta really adapt to the future. You know, a lot of things. It's good because we millennials, and that's what I created that book. You guys can see right there. Profit for Profit, 9 keys millennials can gain success through personal development. It's all about us developing ourselves. I think the first chapter I talk about is love. I believe love is the highest frequency and energy within the universe. That's what brings people together to share information, to help inspire and involve the human population. So I believe special times right now, even throughout the midst of all of the chaos we've been in. I think we're gonna see the light at the tunnel. We just gotta focus, because I know listening to what's going on, COVID, everything is happening. But if you can control how you feel in your mind and you're wrong,
there you go.
Good, regardless. And another thing, it's easy for someone to say that's doing well, and that's one thing I'm realizing when we talk about strategy. I also want to be not biased and say that sometimes you're gonna be at low points. Nobody's perfect, and no form or way we ever want people to think that we're perfect. You go through situations, but if you can, laugh at your problem, that's what my mentor has told me. Problem, so you can find a solution. So, yeah, like I go through worst situations. But they get through it and they persevere through it. But I'm just a firm believer. Let's manifest what we want into our reality. You know what I'm saying? Because we are co-creators of our realities. And you can even give me a story about time after time how you thought about something and you just slowly but surely just manifested it. And it show you how powerful, because you can manifest bad things if you know what I'm saying? So,
oh yeah,
yeah,
that's how you know your thoughts are powerful, and
exactly.
and that's why I think it's so, as you mentioned, and as I said numerous times, it's about being transparent, of course, but it's also about being intentional and being direct. Sometimes you have to be blunt, and as you said, with the experience with the roommate, or my experience with, as I mentioned in the article, with video games, and that was just on a small, very small scale, but something that everyone can relate to, from an age of growing up, and you're like, okay, video games, I love this, but the time that it consumes and take away from me to, from doing my own thing in terms of building my business, building my brand, or actually getting up out of the house, right? It takes away from that, and I have to be focused in on what I'm trying to do long term, and that doesn't fit into my long term. And when we understand that, it's not no longer looked at as a sacrifice. It's no longer looked at as, man, I'm missing out, right? And that's where I think a lot of our mindsets are stuck. Even even in the midst of COVID, right? We still got people breaking their necks to go to, clubs, to go to hookah lounges, just to get out and feel something, right? But in the last 9 months, in the last, 10 months or so, what have you really worked on within yourself that is going to prepare you for 2021, 2025, and beyond? And when we really look at it, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll say I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, because when we really look at it from the long term, because as you mentioned, your book is set for millennials, because we're not thinking. Many of us aren't thinking long term, and I'm not going to say all of us. It's just many of us, and that's just people in general. We have, people 50 years old that have the same attitude as someone who's 21 years old. So it's not really age that's really defining this. It's about your mindset, as you mentioned, and your purpose. And if your purpose isn't wrapped around you growing and evolving, and that's ultimately going to lead you to separate and get into new levels of network status and, opportunities, what is your life looking like? And that's what we sort of seen people run around with in the midst of COVID. As soon as the clubs and, you know, movies and things of that nature opened back up, that made us feel like we were getting involved in something else as opposed to the reality that we got to face every day. We went to go, we went to go indulge in it. And how does that look, next year, right? How does that look for your long term? And will those 9 keys that you written in your book be applied? And can they be applied if you're still focused in on, the status within social media or the status within the rest of the world?
Yes. In this book, I state in the back of it, and that's why I created it. I said, in our current society, many of us enjoy instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer that delayed gratification is the key to greatness. Great works done take a level of hard work, dedication, and focus. So we live in a microwave society.
Mm-hmm.
Thing, and it's a bad thing. The microwave ain't the best thing to warm your food up. And we all know that.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing. It's better to cook it, oven, slow cook it. But my point that I'm trying to raise is that we got to think long term. We got to think into the future. There's many people who like nice clothes. I like nice clothes too. But if you have all of this nice clothes and all of this designer and you don't own property, you don't own some stocks, or at least own some stocks in those designer companies you own it. So let's think smarter, like the facade, is there. We like all of these nice things and whatnot. Yeah, and that's there, but we gotta think long term. Like, for example, there's a cryptocurrency currency called Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I bought it at a lower price. Now it's worth $600. 4 years ago, I had money in it, but I sold it. Imagine I thought long term.
Yep.
I would have profits and had, so it really just showed me, like, we got to think into the future. We got to make smarter moves, like going into 2021. Yeah, we got to adapt to what's going on in the world because a lot of things are changing.
And that's a good thing that you just said it. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, man, what is going on in the world that we're paying attention to, but we're not doing what you just said, adapting to it. Right. As I mentioned, as soon as the clubs, the hookah lounges, and the movie theaters, and Joe Schmo's house, and all the other stuff opened up, we were right back in the mix. Right. The same as where we have been for the last 9 years of the decade. Right. And I'm thinking, like, okay, if our situation has been this state since we got over here, right, and the only glory that we have, or the only gratification that we have, is on the weekend when we're drunk out of our minds, right, where we're hanging around friends, where we're hanging around people that give us the feeling that we're looking for but cannot find in the work that we're doing Monday through Friday. We can't find it when we look in the mirror. We can't find it when we go, pull back the checkbook and look at our finances. We can't find that happiness anywhere else. And we're in this cycle of finding it everywhere else, right? In the clubs, in the fashion, as you mentioned. But it's for a lifestyle that's not real. It's for a superficial lifestyle that we're never really attain because we didn't follow these steps or the keys that you're mentioning in your book. And it just clicked to me. Now I'm sitting here thinking, like, man, we've been in this situation for forever long, but we haven't made the necessary changes, or we haven't adapted, especially during the last 8 months and within quarantine. Like, other people may have adapted here and there, but as a whole, right? When we go pull up on social media, as a whole, you still got people, they can't figure it out without someone else's involvement in their space. They don't want to be home, sitting at home, thinking about what they need to do.
Exactly.
And if you want to touch on that, then definitely.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I'm a firm believer that everybody don't wake up at the same time, and we are totally open to everybody's ideologies and their philosophy. But the philosophies in Profit for Profit, the 9 philosophies plus the last chapter, I'm gonna go through it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about love. I talk about self-belief, because you gotta have self-belief in yourself before you can achieve anything, right? I
Mm-hmm.
talk know, confidence is just a work in progress every day, and every endeavor, the more you do it, the more confidence you gain in every endeavor. So you can be confident in fixing a car, but not be confident in public speaking. So it's
Right.
all about, developing confidence in an area that you would like to excel in and keep on doing it. I talk about learn. The funny thing about learn is it has earn and learn by comma earn. Because like this
Mm-hmm.
generation, the more you learn, the more you earn.
There you go.
All of the greats, the people who've done well, they've learned. They read a lot of books. CEOs read about 56 books a year. So I'm going to probably make a challenge soon about reading books. I talk about the art of manifesting, because that's truly what we want to do. We want to manifest great things in our reality. I talk about thoughts. We just spoke about thoughts and how thoughts are powerful and how you're the co-creator of your life. I talk about discipline, the law of discipline. That's a
Right.
powerful statement, because in order for you to achieve anything, we pledge. So we understand that the level of discipline needed to go through
The
a great
process, yeah.
that develops you. Um, I talk about gratitude and patience. You need to have gratitude. You got to be grateful, and you have to have that level of patience to see it through.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about focus. A great man, my mentor, his friend, I don't remember his friend's name, Sadiq Ali. He said, you want to get a good acronym? Focus. Follow one course until successful.
Hmm.
And then the last
That's
thing,
that's an awesome acronym there.
you're right, yeah, definitely. And then the last thing, you guys have to get it so I can give you the last bonus key. You guys got all of the 9, but there's still a last bonus. So
Yeah,
when
you
you got
gotta get that bonus. No, and
exact,
that's real, man. And I appreciate you sharing. Just the tidbit that you shared, right? I have the book. I definitely checked it out because I purchased it about a year and a half ago, when Abdul first released it. And what what is interesting about Abdul, and what I admire about you, man, is one, there's talkers, right, and there's also doers, and I'm glad to be associated with a lot of doers, the people that really want to see it and want to live by it and put it in action and put their money behind their work. And where some people have aspirations to do, podcasts, or to build websites, or to build apps, or to even write books, right? You have taken on the full ownership and understanding that, hey, I'm willing to be, nose deep into this to understand a industry where, I don't necessarily understand, and I can actually grow and step into my purpose by reaching, new heights through this process. So that's something I can definitely appreciate, and understand, and want people to sort of take that journey with you, because it's been, amazing journey, and I've been watching you grow. So definitely, please check out Abdul and his book Profit for Profit, and I'll make sure I leave any links and some upcoming works. I'll save that for the last little bit, as we close out here.
like, I
Yeah.
appreciate you and your business, the Emphatic, your blog, and all that you're doing. I think that these spaces that we are creating, and then and these platforms that we have, are a great way to share knowledge, inspire people,
Mm-hmm.
and help grow and become more connected as a community. If you want to go far, go alone. But if you want to go further in life, you go with people. And I'm a firm believer that we need to
Oh yeah.
connect. And
But
yeah,
that's where
like I
that
said,
mindset of collaboration over competition. I know we talked about that back in like 2016 or so. Collaboration over competition.
right, exactly. Ego, lose the ego. It's a bigger purpose. Like I said, man, I appreciate all that you're doing with the Emphatic Truth. And guys, if you're looking to self-publish or you're looking to create your own book, please tap into my course. It's at profitforprofit.com, or you can go on my Instagram, Pharaoh, PHAPRAOH_HERU. I teach classes I teach people how to create their own books, go through the self-publishing process, ISBN number, book formatting, and everything of that nature. So yes, guys, thank you guys for listening to us. And like I said, to Tavon, thank you once again. I appreciate all you guys doing. Guys, support this brother right here. Support his platform. Support the work that he's doing and the information. He's put me onto some great men, like
Oh yeah.
Dr. Ben. And if you don't
Yeah.
know who Dr. look him up. We spent a lot of time studying what Mr. Dr. Ben had to say and a lot of other great ancestors.
hmm Yeah, yeah, and the unique part about sort of what the universe will do is as you're along your journey, the universe always put people in your path to help you along and give you a listening ear or give you someone to bounce ideas off of. So Abdul has been that person for me, and I'm just happy to see you walking into everything that you've been putting work into, and that's where I I was like, man, I'm trying to get this growth and separation, discussion out there. And I can do it with so many different people, and this may be a part one to many other parts, but it just I was like, man, I'm looking at someone like, okay, who's doing something right now? Who's actually making a difference? Who's being uh, uh, someone who's been relentless about going hard in 2021 in the midst of everything that has told us to fall back and and sort of chill out. How have Abdul has been able to be successful and tackle his dreams? So that's what the basis of bringing Abdul on this episode of Tools of Liberation, Tell Your Truth podcast. But as we close out, um, I was listening to what you said in the beginning, and it was funny because I had it as my last question. The last quote that I talked about on the article, the blog article, Growth and Separation, and it says, if it doesn't support your growth or vision for your life, let it go. And I I had I was listening to an article, a podcast some time ago, and I was listening to people like Les Brown, Dr. Eric Thomas, um, and Tony Robbins, and a whole host of other people, Denzel, the whole nine, and it was just talking about growth. It was talking about self doubt. It was talking about fear, and it was a real reality. And I had to literally think back to like, okay, when did I have this experience in my life, and when did it click for me, and when did I have enough guts to say, okay, even if it meant, as you said, going alone or being in your own silo for a short period of time until you realize, okay, I manifested what I need to. Now I can allow other people to enter my space because I'm whole, I'm well. But at what point in time did you realize, it was taking that turn for you? Was it before you were writing Profit for Profit? Was it during your process of writing the book, or after when you tried to promote it? What is that turning point, for you, where it says, where you said, you know, if it doesn't support my growth and my vision for my life, I have to let it go. What was that point for you?
I think me being having a giving nature, started to realize nobody is really going to care and protect and provide for your dream like you will. So,
Yep.
in a sense, it's like it's either we're adding value to each other or not. And I'm all about a win-win situation where we both can win. I think that look at it. A lot of times people are selfish, you know, and that's just a part of life. We're gonna realize that. But we want to go around people who are mutually ben- mutually understand the relationship and also understand the value that each other are bringing. You know,
Exactly.
that's what it is. And to be honest, value is everything. You know, Jim Rome will always say, "You get paid to the exact proportion that you bring to the marketplace."
Value. Yep. The value. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and just like you going back to say your entertainment friends, your study friends, your street friends, all plays a role into it. The value that you're adding, you know.
Yep.
So I think for me, it was just able to discern people around me that, you know, everybody has their place, and you have a place in everybody's life too. But just resonating with the right energy and people with that on the frequency that you're doing. It's easy to say, but you know, if you're on a frequency of creating podcasts, learning about stocks, learning different ways to grow your business, that's the people that you want to be around, because like attracts like, right? So it was very easy for me to just be around people. And mind you, my mentor wrote books, so that kind of influenced me too as well. So um,
That's
yeah,
important, though. That's
but
important.
it's never for me like I'm cutting off people, you know, because it's not about cutting off, because this is life, and we cross paths with many beautiful souls. Each can teach you good, some can teach you bad, but at the end of the day, you learn that lesson, you know. So but you
Yeah, and that's
know,
important.
yep.
Yeah, that's important. Not to, I'm sorry to cut you off there. Um, yeah, but not to really burn any bridges, right? But just understanding what you need and what your journey is going to involve and a level of effort. I think I missed out on saying that very early in this conversation, but the level of effort that is going to be needed from you to make sure that you compete at the highest level and fulfill your goals. That effort is going to be dictated by who you surround yourself by. And if you're not separating yourself, then we've seen that play out. Look, I mean, you just look at, you know, what we hear in our music. I mean, I love rap music just like anyone else, right? But it's like what we put out in certain eras. What was that?
It's like you're right. What we put out is what we get.
Exactly. And then it's like on the flip side of all of that, it's like we're still left trying to explain ourselves when really the music that we were saying was a form of expression, right? But because no one understands us, we're left holding, the candle in a sense, uh, screaming, "Hey, look at me!" While the music was a portrayal of the hurt and the pain and the depression and everything else that we've been dealing with. And how did you separate yourself, even to understand what the reality of it is and versus the superficial, and how I can move or should move with this knowledge. And that's where I think that level of consciousness, as you said, has to come in. We don't have to be so reactionary all the time. Like someone may not support us, or someone may not do us the right way. It's not everything to, and I mentioned this in the article, this cancel culture. We don't have to have this cancel culture because we're the ones dictating this. We're the only people, Black people, are dictating this cancel culture about the rest of the world. or about celebrities that most oftentimes look like one of us. So I think the power that we have and have to realize is the level of effort that we put into things that do not give us life, but tear us down and is built for our death and destruction. And we need to more so get into this attitude of minding our own business. And what does that look like? People always said it, but I didn't understand that until like when I was in college, going high school, going to college, when people like mind your own business. I'm like, okay, people say mind their own business, but I was always like a thinker. So people like saying it to be smart, but now I'm really saying it like I'm minding my own business. You feel me? And it's not a disrespectful term. It's just more so I have something that I'm totally focused on, and I have to mind it and keep it up to the level that I want to make sure I'm maintaining it so I can put it out there and it can be received. Whereas some people may be saying minding your own business, you know, for some derogatory shade. You know what I mean? But it's like we understand it because we're in that mindset. And it was just really good to, you know, hear your perspective, understanding what we must do, understanding how we must behave. And as Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen said in his lecture at Tuskegee University, that's on YouTube, The Black Man Must Wake Up. He said, in closing, he said, show me how you treat your woman, and I'll show you the condition of your race. So with that, we'll close out. Oh yeah. With that, we'll close out, and hopefully this conversation has been impactful, has been insightful, and has been really just a good growth experience for you, the viewers that's reading, maybe reading this in transcript, or maybe watching this on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. But nonetheless, I appreciate you, Abdoul. Definitely make sure we check out Abdoul. Make sure you follow him. I'll make sure I leave all the links where you can pick up his book, Profit for Profit. Make sure you sign up for his self-publishing class. Man, I may have to, I know I hit you up a few weeks ago. I might have to get with you offline because I got some things in the work.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I got some things in the works. So, and I know you're the right man for the job. I know you definitely the right man for the job, but want to make sure I can give Abdoul the floor for any closing, you know, remarks or anything that you want to let the people know before we roll on out here.
No, this was a phenomenal podcast. Thank you once again. Like I said, people support the emphatic truth, support this brother's platform. This is the platforms that we need to evolve to our higher self and to tap into different information. Last, all I got to say is we're going to have to elaborate on the last statement you made, quoted by Dr. Ben. That is a very, so it seems like we may have a part two because now we have to expound upon that because that was a statement. You know, so that statement right there is self-explanatory.
Yep. And I think, see, I said it to hopefully set up, you know, the next conversation where we're going to be getting into what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a man in the 21st century? So that's going to be the next topic that we discuss on Tell Your Truth podcast series. And if you guys aren't, you know, in tune, a lot of these topics are being curated from my blog articles on theemphatictruth.com. And a few years ago, I wrote about what does it mean to be a man, right? What my experience was, how did I deal with it? And this was in the midst of me being a sophomore, junior in college. But having that experience of like, okay, I'm trying to be, you know, a man, but not only a man, a black man. And this is in the height of the Freddie Gray. I think it was around like the Michael Brown situation, killing, and Oscar Wright or Oscar Brown murder as well. So it was around that time while I was in college, but everything around the world was going on. So what does it mean to be a man? That's going to be our next topic, and I'll make sure I hold your name up to make sure I include you in that panel discussion. And that's going to be very, very good. And as we said with that quote from Dr. Ben, it gives us something to sort of